When we come here for a reason to practice meditation in order to overcome dukkha. Dukkha is the thing that led us here. Dukkha means dissatisfaction, restlessness, discomfort, suffering, pain, and all these things. All the unpleasant things or unpleasant experience we make in our daily life. Because they are unpleasant, we normally run away, or we try to find a way to eliminate. And the path of practice is the path of elimination. The path of practice, as I said before, is the practice of sila, samadhi and panya. Sila is the 5 moral precepts, samadhi is concentration and mindfulness, and panya is the way of wisdom, the way of understanding, the way of seeing things as they are. In order to go the path of practice, we need to develop mindfulness. Mindfulness is an important factor. Mindfulness is the basis of our practice. Mindfulness means being aware of what we are doing just right now, of what we are thinking, of what we are talking, of what we are doing. Without mindfulness, we do not realize anything, we will not understand a thing. Mindfulness is so important that the Lord Buddha said that one who has mindfulness, one who has sati for 7 days and 7 nights can gain enlightenment after these 7 days or 7 nights, if his mindfulness does not lapse. If his mindfulness is not so big, or if it's not so sharp, then it might take 7 weeks, 7 months, 7 years, or 7 lifetimes. This should give you an indication of how important it is to develop mindfulness. Mindfulness is not just knowing what we are doing, but it is aware of what is going on at the present moment. When we are walking, when we are mindful, then we are aware of walking. We are not thinking that I am walking, or thinking I am doing this, or thinking I am doing that. We are just aware of the process of walking, or the process of the breath going in and the breath going out, or the process of the repetition of the word Buddha. This is called mindfulness. Mindfulness gives us a clue of what is going on. Mindfulness is aware of the things that happen right now at that moment. Without being aware of what is going on, without being aware of what we are doing right now, of what we are thinking right now, of what we are saying right now, of what we are doing right now, we will not see kamma. We will not see the law of cause and effect. And kamma is one thing that brings us from this life to the next life. Kamma is the one thing that the results of the kamma that we have made in the past is that what we feel or experience right now. We have to be aware of that. That what we experience right now is the result of our kamma that we have done in the past. So, we cannot change the kamma that we have done in the past. We can only accept the results of the kamma that we have done in the past and make it in the present moment, because the present moment is the only moment that we are able to change anything. We can change our actions. That means our actions are threefold: our thinking, our speech, and our bodily action to produce better kamma, to produce wholesome kamma. This we can do only in the present. So, if we are not mindful in the present moment, we will reap the results of our kamma that we do when we are not mindful, and that is normally the kamma that we are reaping right now, because the tendencies of our character are going to continue if we are not going to counteract them. So, only the present moment gives us a clue. Only the present moment is the moment where we can change things. It's the moment where we can change our thoughts. It's the moment where we can change our speech. And it's the moment where we can change our action. And we change our action in order to make it more wholesome or give results, more wholesome results. So when we have thoughts, for instance, we have thoughts of hate, then we are going to change right now in the moment this thought of hate towards a thought of loving kindness, or we just replace it with our meditation object, the word Buddha, 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 or being aware of the breath at the tip of the nose. If we do not see what we are doing right now, and if we do not understand the results of our action, of our thinking, of our speech, and our bodily action, that means if we are not mindful what we are thinking right now, and what is the effect of this thinking in the future, then we will not be able to correct these things. That's why we have to be extremely mindful, and that's why the Lord Buddha says that complete mindfulness is the fast way to enlightenment. It's the fast way, enlightenment in the sense that to overcome dukkha. And that's all what we want. We want to have happiness, we want to experience happiness. Every one of us wants to experience happiness. Every one of us wants to experience peacefulness and content. So, mindfulness is giving us a clue. When we are mindful of our thoughts, when we are mindful of our speech, when we are mindful of our bodily action, then we are also mindful of the results of our doing. We are also mindful of the results of our mental thinking, of the results of our speech, of the results of our bodily action. When we have thoughts of restlessness coming in our mind, we are feeling restless. So this is the result, this is the immediate result of our restless thinking. So we can curb it in by replacing this restless thinking with our meditation object, or when we are doing investigation, with the investigation of the body, or of feeling, or of memory and association, or of thinking, or of consciousness. We should not forget, or we should always keep in mind, that whatever ever happens right now, in this very, very moment, is that what we have sown in the past. It's the results of our kamma that we have done in the past. We should not accuse somebody else of producing within us bad feelings or good feelings, because we are the one who caused this bad or these good feelings, or we are the one who caused this luck or this unluck. We are the only one who are responsible for what is happening right now within us. This we should always be aware of. We should not make or accuse somebody else of doing something against us. We should only accuse ourselves of having not been mindful enough that we have not seen what we have caused in the past. This is the only thing. And once we have seen that this is the thing that we have caused, then we should take immediate action to eradicate this root from our heart. In order to eradicate this root from our heart, we also have to be mindful and go down to where the root is. The root normally lies in any sort of greed, hate, or delusion. It results in greed, in wanting things, or not wanting things, or not being clear about what is going on. When I said before, kamma is the one thing that brings us from one life to the other, then we should take this serious and we should eliminate the causes for us that we are born, if we don't like it this way, that we are born in the next life. In order to eradicate the causes of being born, we have to eradicate greed, hate, and delusion. And greed, hate, and delusion are manifesting in this very body, are manifesting in this very chitta. And in this very chitta, there are the causes. And there we have to find them. In order to be able to find them, in order to be able to be mindful enough or aware enough or have enough sati to understand what is going on within the 5 khandhas, within these 5 groups of Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara and Vijnana, and what is directing, what is using these 5 groups, and nothing else than avijja, nothing else than ignorance, blindness, or not knowing is directing at the moment these 5 groups. And the results of it is that what we experience right now. So, we have to be mindful. We really have to be mindful enough. We have to enough sati or mindfulness and awareness of what is going on right now. Before we can be able to be mindful enough, we have to train this mindfulness. In order to train this mindfulness, we have, first of all, to shut down our computer of thinking. We really have to shut it down. We have to really to make the chitta completely quiet, so that nothing else remains in the chitta. The only thing that remains in the chitta, in the deep state of samadhi, is just the knowing nature of the chitta, the original quality of the chitta. If we do not shut down our computer, if we do not shut it down, and we shut it down by concentrating on one object, being it the breath or being it the repetition, mental repetition of the word Buddha, until the breath disappears, and then at the time when the breath disappears, we jump to the one who knows that the breath disappears. And from that point on, we leave the space of duality and come into the space of singularity, in the space of one-pointedness. When there is only one point, there cannot be another point. So, the duality disappears, and that means our body disappears, and after that, the whole universe disappears. And all what is left is knowingness, knowing the true function of the chitta. Knowingness, just knowing, not knowing about this object or that object because the objects have disappeared. Just knowingness itself remains. And once we have experienced that, and once we come back out of this knowingness or out of the deep state of samadhi, then we see duality comes back again. Our body comes back again, and this whole world comes back again, and we see all this fight or all this trouble that this whole world creates upon us. because this whole world is like a bombardment of all these different weapons that hit us all the time. The weapons of the senses, the weapons of the reaction, and so on, and so on. While we are in this deep state of samadhi, nothing will hit us. There's only peace, there's only contentment, there only remains knowingness, the pure knowingness. And because this is such a deep state of samadhi, or because this is the point of singularity, that's why Tanaja Mahabodhi calls this the Nibbana of the little man. It is a preview for Nibbana. It's a preview when all these things cease to exist. When all the things that we are bothered with, that we are torn up with, that we are engaged with, cease to exist. So, when they can cease to exist, what is this? What is us? What is this? What we call ourselves? It is like sometimes we go into a movie and we see the different movies, the movie of love, the movie of hate, the movie of action, the movie of talking, and we identify with one or the other person, or with a group of persons, with the good or with the bad, and once the movie stops, it all stops, it all ends. And that is the same thing. The moment we draw back into singularity or one-pointedness, everything stops. The moment we come back out, we see again this movie, or we can call it the movie of life. And it hits us like we are in the movie and watch a movie. Certain characters make us laugh, certain characters make us cry, certain characters make us feel hurt, or feel anger, or feel contempt, or feel whatever. And that is the same way when we go out from this deep state of samadhi back into the world just hits us like we are going back into the movie of life, and we are feeling with the different characters of life. We feel for this person, or we are contempt about that person, we are angry about this person, or we fall in love with that person. Nothing else happens. Nothing else than this is happening. So we have to understand it. And if you get what I'm hinting at, is that we actually do have to develop this skill of getting down into samadhi. We really have to develop the skill. And we have to do everything that is within our power, everything that is within our energy to get the mind completely to rest, to shut the engine off. And if possible, even turn off or pull out the key of the car so that it stops running for a while. We have to see the difference. We have to see the difference. What it is like. We know, we have lived so many years. We know what life is about. But we do not know what reality is about. So we have to put all our interest into developing the skill of going down into the deep state of samadhi and seeing what it really is all about. The longer we are resting in this deep state of the samadhi, the bigger the difference will be when we go back out into this world. It's like we are in the middle of we're waking up in the middle of a world war. Everything is shooting around us, and we are constantly hit by this bullet or that bullet. By the bullet of greed, or by the bullet of hate, or by the bullet of mocha or delusion. And we suffer through that. We immensely suffer, or we immensely are discomfort with this kind of shooting or with this kind of work. So we take the opportunity once we have developed the skill of going down into the deep state of samadhi, to take a deep rest. To take a deep rest, not only to sleep, not only to put our body to sleep, what we do every day. I haven't seen any person who has not done his body, who did not put his body to sleep in the last 20 years. We all do that naturally. When we feel exhausted, we put our body to rest, don't we? We work hard, and then in the evening we put our body to rest so that it can rest. But when have we done, or when have we brought our mind or our chitta to rest? It has not been at rest for the last millions of years. So how tired must this chitta be? How tired must this chitta be? So once it gets into a rest, it really will enjoy this rest. It really will enjoy this contentment, this knowingness, this true function of the chitta. And once it comes out, it will be completely refreshed. We only go to bed because we want to be refreshed for the next day's work. So, we have to learn that skill. To be able to put our mind to rest. To completely shut off the engine and see what is left. And see the things as they really are. Because once we come out of the deep state of samadhi, we are not only refreshed, but we start to see the things very clearly. This is this is that, this is the body, this is feeling, this is memory, this is association, this is views, this is thinking, and this is consciousness. We see it very clearly. But within no time, it will be muckled up, it will be caught up by the delusion and mixed together, and then we're starting to experience the world as it is. Just like this, walking or talking, then we talk about this, or we want to talk about that, because the mind gets bored, the mind gets restless, so we want to have a little chat, or we want to have a little coffee, or a Coke, or whatever. Or we want to eat something, or we want to have some distraction. And then we are back at the same stage. And nothing actually has happened. The only thing, once we have gone down into the samadhi, we know that there is something else beyond this world that we have never actually experienced. But that is within our power to reach. This we know, and this, I promise you, we will never, ever, ever forget. This kind of experience is so extraordinary that Dhamma Mahaprabhu calls it one of the wonders of practice. It's not only the preview of Nibbana, but it's also a wonder. And it's extremely wonder when the whole world disappears, or when this body disappears, and all what is left is the true knowing nature of the chitta. And when we come back, suddenly this whole world appears again. It is like we were going out of the movie, and after a while we are going back into the movie of life. And the movie changes. We're going from this movie theater to the next movie theater. We call this movie theater this city, or that movie theater that city, or this movie is this part of the city, or this is our family. That's the family movie, that is the work movie, or so on, and so on, and so on. It's just a movie that lasts, while we are in this environment. And then we change because we don't like this movie, so we go to another movie. And then we don't like that movie, so we go to the next movie. And we do that for the rest of our life. Evading the movies that are unpleasant, or once the movie becomes unpleasant, we are awaiting this movie and run into the next movie theater and look at the next movie. That's all what we are doing. We're running away. We're running away from the unpleasant things. We never ever actually are looking down, what are these unpleasant things? What are the unpleasant things? Unpleasant things is an unpleasant experience, is an unpleasant feeling. There are three kinds of feelings: unpleasant feelings, neutral feelings, and pleasant feelings. And they all fall into the laws of anicca, anatta, dukkha. Anicca, unpleasant feelings arise and cease and change. They arise and change and cease. Pleasant feelings arise, change, and disappear. Neutral feelings the same way. So, that's all what is there. But we run away the moment we have, oh, this is unpleasant, we need to evade, and that's what we trained ourselves to do. Whenever there's something unpleasant, we run away. Whenever we see something pleasant, we run after it. After it and after it, but never ever catching it. Because the pleasant thing or the pleasant feeling has long since disappeared. We're running after it, and it has disappeared. It disappears on its own accord. Because all of the things that we experience in this world, or that we experience in this cosmos, are under the laws of anicca, anatta, dukkha. Anicca is impermanence, is changeability, is saying things arise and cease. And while they have arisen, they constantly change. We can see this anicca when we observe the breath. The breath comes in and the breath goes out. The breath changes from in-breath to out-breath. The breath is at its height or at its low. It's nothing, it never ever stands still. So this is the law of anicca. And the same thing is for a feeling. A feeling arises and it ceases. A thought arises and it ceases. Are we in control of these thoughts? Are we in control of these feelings that we call ourselves? Because we think that that our thoughts are me, that our thoughts are mine, that our thoughts are myself. And this is the law of anatta. This is not me, this is not myself, this does not belong to me, because I have no control over it. I have absolutely no control over the feelings that arise. I just see a person and then they arise. I just remember something, then they arise. I just think about something, then they arise. Or they arise on its own accord. And when an unpleasant feeling arises, then of course, when we are in control, we can say, okay, let's change it to a pleasant feeling. Who has ever been able to do that? Nobody of us. So they do not belong to us. The feelings arise and cease. Like the trees, when we go out somewhere in the forest, we see the trees. They have been there, or they just are growing there, or they have fallen over, tippled over, or tripled over. That's all what we can do. We cannot make it grow. Even if we wish to make it grow, we can fertilize it, of course, but we cannot make it grow. It grows on its own accord. And that's the same thing with our feelings or with the body. It grows on its own accord and it dies on its own accord. And nobody ever has been able to stop us from dying. We have died so many times, and we have been born so many times, and we still have not the clue how we can be able to stop us from dying, this body from dying. We have not been able to find the clue how we can stop unpleasant feelings to arise or pleasant feelings not to cease. So, how can we say, or how can we claim that something that we have no control over is us, is me, belongs to me? How foolish can we be to say that these things belong to us? You would not say that the locker behind you or that the tree in front of you is you or belongs to you or is yourself. You can observe it, but you wouldn't take the assumption that it's you, that it belongs to you, that this is yourself. But once we look in the mirror and we see the face now that gets out of the mirror or comes out of the mirror, then we immediately say, this is me, that is myself, and that is us. We just observe it like we observe anything in this world. And the observing quality is the knowing quality of the citta. The citta just knows. Just like it knows the tree outside, it knows this body. It knows the body from outside, but it knows also the body from inside. It knows when a feeling has arisen, and it knows when a feeling ceases. But we fool ourselves in saying that these things that are in our close vicinity are me, are mine, and are myself. And that's how we fool ourselves. Instead of seeing that they arise and cease on its own accord, that they do not belong to me, that they are not me, that they are not myself. Because I ask you, or ask yourself, who is the one who knows about these things? Who is the one who knows about this body? Who is the one who sees the body? Who is the one who experiences feelings? Who sees the feelings arising and ceasing? If we are both of this, if we are the object observed and the one who observes the object, then we certainly have a split personality. We cannot be both. And because we think we are living forever, then let's better assume that we are this knowing nature of the citta, that just knows about the things. Like when we go to a movie, we just know or we just see, but we are not actually in the movie itself. So this is the principle of anicca, anatta. And dukkha I have explained in the beginning. Because we are grabbing, because we are attaching to these things that are in our close vicinity, like our thoughts. We just grab the thoughts, like we grab the glass of coffee that is close to us. Or whatever is close to us, we grab it and then we call it mine. But we don't even know if it's mine. So we grab the thoughts or we grab these experiences and call this myself. And then we have views about what are we, what is myself, or what is my character, and then somebody else has a different view of ourselves, and then we are getting into conflict. Because normally everybody thinks of himself as being a good person. And then somebody else comes in and says we are not good. So then we immediately get into a fight, because we have the view of ourselves that we are actually good. And we don't like to hear that somebody tells us this is not good or this is not good. But we forget that we are the ones who pulled all these things that we call ourselves in our vicinity and claimed them for us to be us. Now take back the claim and the dukkha will cease. Just let them see how they arise and cease within this own nature, because feelings have its own nature. Everything what is in this universe has its own nature. So they all arise and cease. Just watch it. Just being contented, observing, okay, this arises and this ceases. This arises, Vedana arises, Vedana triggers a thought arises and the thought will cease. This thought triggers another memory, this arises and this will cease. That's all what is happening. So why get attached to it? Why are you really claiming something, this is us, this is mine, this belongs to me, that we don't have any control over? Because they arise and cease because on their own condition. They have their own life. We know that if we have an animal or a house animal, a dog or a cat or a pig, that it's not us. And we don't have a control over that it gets sick or healthy or grows up or lives long. It depends on the life or on the life force of this animal. If it will be sick or if it will be healthy or if it will die shortly or if it will have a long life. And so it is with this body. And there are, of course, the laws that govern all these processes. And this is the law of kamma. Kamma is something that is very difficult to understand. The Lord Buddha says there are only few people who really understand the complete depth of kamma. But normally we can say whatever we do has an effect, and whatever we do unto the other, this will come back onto us. So that's why we have the saying, don't do unto the other what you don't want others to do unto you. This is the simplest form of kamma. This is some way or some description of kamma that we all can understand. So don't hurt anybody with speech. Don't hurt anybody with bodily action, be it a human being or be it any other being. So that we will not be hurt in the process or in the future. If we're doing good unto the other persons, then we will reap the results of this kamma, that other people will be doing good unto us. This is the simple form of kamma. This is something that we have to understand. And this is something that we can understand. But the complete depth, when this fruit of our action will be ripe, this is something very difficult to understand. If the fruit of our action today will come back tomorrow, or only in the next life, or maybe only in 10 lives form, we do not know. This is very difficult to understand. If it comes back completely as we did it, or if it comes back in a smaller form or in a bigger form, this is something that has to do with our intention. It's very difficult to judge. So for the moment, just let's deal with the easy thing. Don't do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you. This is the law of kamma, and this is something we should reflect about every moment of our life. And we should, when I now summarize it all up, we should be developing extreme mindfulness of what we are doing, of what we are thinking, of what we are talking about. And we should ask ourselves, why do I want to do this? Or why do I want to say this? Or why do I want to think this? Will it have a wholesome effect, or will it have an unwholesome effect? If we can judge it that it will have an unwholesome effect, then stop our doing, or stop our speech, or stop our thought, and replace it with our meditation object that we have been trained of. That means the repetition of the word Buddha, or just go back to our breath. Or, if we are more skilled, then we can replace it with a wholesome thought, or a wholesome speech, or a wholesome action. But in the beginning, we might not be skillful enough to replace it immediately with a wholesome thought, or wholesome speech, or wholesome action. So in the beginning, we just drop it. Until we get enough mindfulness, when we see the intention coming up to hurt somebody else, or to make something unwholesome, not to follow the intention, not to let it go out into a bodily action or into a unwholesome kamma, but change it at the time of the point of intention and to make something worthwhile. Instead of wanting something, we give something. Instead of saying some harsh words to somebody else, we say some words of loving kindness to this person. So kamma we have to understand, mindfulness we have to develop, and especially we have to shut down our mind. I always say it, and I say it every day, and we cannot just hear enough of it. We have to shut down the mind to get at least in a state of where the beyond thinking, in the world of experience, in the upachara samadhi or aksa samadhi, where things rest, where we are not taken by the things anymore, where we just experience the world as it is. And we are not hurt or we are not hit by the motions of this world, of this universe. We just experience like we are just going and completely, our mind is completely still, and we watch a sunset or we watch the animals in the forest or the animals in a zoo, not taking part. Or go into the deep state of samadhi where this body and where this whole world disappears, or where the whole principle of duality disappears. And take there a deep rest and come back and work at the roots that keep us in this life. The work at the roots of greed, hate and delusion. To eliminate them, to cut down the tree of life. So that this life will be our last life if we so wish so. So please take it to heart. Remember to be mindful whatever you're doing. When you get up now, be mindful that you're getting up. Be mindful that you are starting to walk. Be mindful about walking. Be mindful about drinking. Just don't do things unmindfulness. The Lord Buddha talks about mindfulness. The moment you're waking up, you're mindful of waking up. The moment you open your eyes, you're mindful of opening your eyes. The moment you get up, you're mindful of getting up. The moment you got up and dress yourself, you're mindful of dressing yourself. And the moment, once you're dressed, you're mindful of being dressed, wearing the robes or wearing the cloak, and so on, and so on, and so on. So, and with this, I will conclude my short talk. So if there are any questions, then you can ask. If not, then just quietly get up and do your work. Here at this monastery, we have the opportunity. We have it nowhere else in this world. The opportunity to take all time that we have, and we have to spend only very little time of maintaining our body. That means only little time for eating, only little time for washing the body and to taking it to rest. And all the other time is free time to spend for practice. So I encourage you to take this time, to take the opportunity while you are here and make the most of your time. Make the most of your time to get down into samadhi, to learn mindfulness, to get the mind concentrated, and to be able to completely shut down the engine. Okay?